everybody. Welcome to Raising Vibrations. You're with Simon today. And in this video, we're going to be discussing the new moon in Taurus. And I'm just going to be sharing with you some of my insights and thoughts regarding how to work with this energy. And just a general sort of understanding of what I think is essential when it comes to how to integrate new moons into your actual daily life. So it's actually been quite an interesting series of events that have led me to become aware of these insights, to be honest. In my own personal life, for instance, I've been working a lot with my relationship to what my soul desires on a very deep level versus how the ego is actually bringing those into light. And I'm finding myself having to learn a lot of lessons around patience. And what's really interesting about the nature of patience regarding this new moon is that the actual symbols themselves of Jupiter, of the new moon itself, and Pluto are all situated in Earth trines. Now, you guys have known that I've spoken about this Earth trine for quite some time. I did a live stream on it as well where I shared some thoughts and stuff. But to me, the Earth trine is a very significant thing when it comes to this new moon. Okay, and in fact, we have Mercury there. It's retrograde at the moment. Mercury is retrograde in Taurus. We have the sun and the moon, of course. Well, the moon is now outside Taurus. It's now in Gemini. But the sun's in Taurus at the moment. And Venus is there as well. Okay. And naturally, those are then trining Jupiter in Virgo and Pluto in Capricorn. And again, the patience thing is essential here, because what happens with patience is that we generally tend to mature, or we mature with our relationship to whatever it is that we're having to be patient with. And the earth element, and in particular Capricorn, creates quite a lot of limitations around our situations in life, because it's inducing or asking or providing us with this need for deep inner reflection. And the new moon in Taurus has got a lot of this slowing down energy contained to it. This need for just taking a step back and kind of just breathing a little bit more deeper into your relationship with yourself, breathing more deeper into the relationship with the projects that you are wanting to manifest, or direction you seek to go in, and stuff like that. And I feel that the reason why that would be the case is because if you had to observe any life cycle, okay, whether it be plants, whether it be the human experience, etc., there are periods of our time where we do need to kind of just chill out, sit back for a bit, and observe the nature of what is going on within us. Okay, plants don't really have that kind of intricate experience to it because of the psychology that's not there, but there is a time where the nature of their generic and blueprint of their growth doesn't actually move as fast as what it was done previously, or what it's going to. There's like a stopping period. And this is with everything, with everything in nature, this earth element manifests itself. So you get the point I'm really trying to put across. So this is a great opportunity for us to kind of just take a step back. I spoke about this in a retrogrades workshop that I'd hosted last week. And if anybody's actually interested in getting that recording, I do have that available on my email. So if you just send me an email and say you're interested in the workshop, I'll be able to send you that recording. It teaches all about the retrogrades that are currently taking place. So the retrogrades, just this need for deep inner sort of inhalation and just allowing oneself to be present. And I think that's a big deal, because along with the Earth trine in itself, along with the new moon in Taurus, there is, of course, these natural, or pardon me, not natural, but there are these other symbols that are also taking place. And these aren't as friendly as the trines from the point of view of what is idealistic, but the Saturn and Mars in Sagittarius squaring the Jupiter and the Neptune in Pisces Virgo is a big deal. Now, to get into the depth of what we're actually talking about here, from my point of view, I would need at least 4 to 5 hours to be able to share with you what I consider to be the most in-depth analysis of what is actually taking place in the sky at the moment in terms of how our consciousness is moving, how our relationship to our inner system regarding our belief systems are changing. So there's an incredible amount of sorry, just I need to move the mic closer over here because I feel like the sound's not getting through. I've got this Mercury retrograde thing going on where I don't want to re-record this again. Anyway, the point is that the retrogrades in themselves are helping out with the Earth trine and stuff, but the complexity of how consciousness and how our relationship to the phenomena of reality is shifting in relationship to these Saturn and Sag, Mars and Sag, Neptune and Pisces, Jupiter and Virgo square, this T-square that's in the sky at the moment in this mutable cross, is huge. And like I said, just talk for hours on it. But here are some of the things that I feel are really key that I can bring up. And so on the deepest and most fundamental level that's actually occurring here, okay, it works like this. If you had to observe the biology of any organism, okay, you'd notice that there are some really, really key aspects to really objectifying and observing how stuff works. So again, an organism for that matter, you would have to look at the environment that it's currently in. You would have to look at how the environment is influencing that current organism and how that current organism is responding to environmental stimulus, okay? Now that's actually the Earth trine itself, because Taurus in itself reflects the nature of senses, okay? So in order for you to survive, you need to be able to have some physical senses on your basic biological structure that says, don't go there, go there, that tastes nice, that's ugly, etc., etc. So we define these certain things. Now, the human condition in itself gives names to that. That's Gemini. But from the point of view of just animals themselves, they have very primitive, or they have their own sort of natural ways of interacting with the environment, and they're obviously not as complex as we make it with our mental structure. So we get this point that there is this stimulus, this environmental feedback and interaction. And based on the environment, we naturally then have a processes of assimilation, okay? And so a process of assimilation reflects the nature of how we go about then interacting with our environment that leads us to have the most efficient way to work with our time, work with our space. Animals, for that matter, will have certain scents that they will travel along. They will eat certain foods at certain days, etc. This is the general sort of process of or idea I'm talking about regarding assimilation. That would be the Virgo part, okay? That's step-by-step routine behavior, etc. And then you've got Capricorn. And Capricorn becomes then the nature of how those have crystallized themselves from Taurus and Virgo. So coming back to my original discussion or original point regarding the organism itself, as it interacts with its environment, gets environmental stimuli, it starts to shape and mold itself, okay? So animals that live in the North Pole, for instance, will have different shaping to, say, for instance, snakes and scorpions, etc., that live in the desert, okay? Their exoskeletons will be different. The structure of their mouth will be different relative to their foods, etc. And then naturally, whatever the environment offers in terms of process will be what the crystallization of the organism will look like. So again, most people that live in South America, for instance, will look vastly different to the population in the States. The same goes for Australia, with slight variance, but you would see that there would be this kind of cultural shaping that takes place, right? Everybody following me? So Capricorn becomes the crystallization of what we are feeding ourselves and how that gets processed with Virgo, so Earth Trinity, okay? So it's the assimilation. Now, if we come into the human form, the Earth Trinity then becomes what food you eat, and in terms of how you eat it. Say, for instance, you're a vegan person, you only eat certain amounts of food because of certain things, etc. You're somebody that enjoys meat and dairy, etc. There's somebody that just enjoys vegetarian. However it is, each of us has our different value systems, Taurus, our resources, what we consume, what we sense with us. And Virgo then becomes this natural process of where it goes into the body. So the body will say, okay, that goes over there, that goes over there, process this here, etc. And then naturally so, after a period of, say, for instance, a year of consuming a certain amount of food, then the body will start to adjust itself in accordance with what that food provides it. So most people that would live on hamburgers, for instance, wouldn't be as, say, for instance, in my opinion, as healthy as people that would generally eat a diet that is more suitable to how the body actually processes food. So, more vegetables, more leafy greens, lots of water, etc. You would see that the natural shape, etc., would adjust itself. So that's Capricorn, right? Does that make sense? Now, if you take the Virgo Pisces axis, okay, and then you take Sag, and then what you actually have here is this interesting dynamic of what core belief systems you use and direct experiences you use that then becomes the overall process. Okay, so this is the overall process. Sagittarius at the top sits over here and it hits the Virgo Pisces axis and it says, okay, so everything that's in the totality of your environment, Pisces, becomes interconnected with the nature of who you are, Virgo, relative to the belief systems that you use to validate your reality, your direct experiences, your cultural. So because we have these squares taking place right now, the adjustments that are taking place regarding your perception of reality, what you choose, what you don't choose, etc., are under this microscope of huge shifting. Now, the context of what this is all about is completely relative to the nature of what you have been using as a paradigm now or previously, in contrast to what you've been or going to be using going forward. Now, most of us have assimilated the nature of core belief systems pre this new moon experience and all these energies up until now as in a certain way. But as these energies start to shift, new information will be starting to become available to you. The evolution of the way that we interact with reality is adjusting and changing itself right in front of us. And the way that we will start to assimilate and adjust ourselves relative to the physical density, which is the Earth trine, will then become the byproduct of those shiftings that are occurring with the Virgo and the Pisces and the Sag, and how that adjustment is taking place. So how do you psychologically process stuff? How do you validate stuff? How do you decide what is right and wrong for you? All these huge things are now available to you right now, and that adjustment is then of course going to be reshaping us going forward, like I said. So to me, it's a super fascinating discussion to have, and I feel that with all of us that are on the planet right now, these angles and squares will naturally be, or should I say trines and squares, will naturally be vibrating somewhere within your own birth chart. For me, it's actually kind of interesting, to be honest, and maybe that's the reason why I'm having such a direct connection to it and fascinated by it, is because it's on my actual karmic axis. It's on the nodes themselves. I'm actually adjusting my own sense of direction and personality, which for me, as I said before, right in the beginning of the discussion, it's all about my relationship to how my soul's desires are being actualized versus how my soul is actually using the little I or the ego to validate those things and bring it into clarity. But I'm having to apply a deep amount of patience. And as that patience is being cultivated in me, I'm allowing deeper wisdom to come into my actual soul's awareness so that I can become more clearer on how that soul's desire actually gets validated, which is, it's a really cool experience to have. But nonetheless, so new moon in Taurus, okay, what I've coined it as is the letting go of the fear of the mind and returning to the call of intuition. So naturally, a lot of fear is going to come up right now. Naturally, a lot of processes regarding emotions, etc., etc., are going to come up for us right now. And it's your job to be able to be strong enough and courageous enough to work through the emotion, through the emotional body, and to release all fear that comes up at this stage and work through with your fear. Okay, because the fear is presented itself through the Neptune, because it's uncertain. I don't know why this is happening to me. The retrogrades are asking for this deeper inner reflection. The Earth trying to say, calm down, chill out, just stay with yourself a little bit more, etc. And as you do this, as you cultivate this more, you will start to notice that there's a lot of stuff that's going to come up for us. And as you kind of just put it into, like me, I'm having deep soul awakenings regarding past lives where my soul feels this fear. It's like I'm running away from something. And I'm trying to look at what I'm running away from, but really what I'm running away from is a past life memory of, or, whatever type of memory of not being able to actualize. And so therefore needing to kind of escape the prison that my soul thinks it's still stuck in, while the current reality is going, dude, you know what I mean? So there's a lot of that fear that comes up at this point in time, and I've got to kind of ground it and process that reality. So a lot of processing of reality is happening at this point in time. A lot of need to be very anchored in and really, really grounded and objective in what types of stuff is coming up for you, so that you can put it in places and say, don't need that, and clear out more of the gunk that's in your karmic closet. Okay? So some big stuff ahead in terms of the next 3 or 4 months. Like I said, I'll be updating you guys as soon as I have more information to share with you in terms of what I believe is important and essential at this stage. But I really hope that you enjoyed this full moon sort of discussion. And if you're interested in actually having the full moon videos, etc., presented to you, I do have a membership program as well. That's on my website, and all that information is actually in the description below. And that's about it. Okay, everyone. Thanks very much for watching. Have a fantastic week, and I'll see you with Chart of the Day next. Bye-bye.